welcome back. I hope you were able to join us last time when we started our conversation with my friend Nicole.
It's so great to be back.
We're super excited to have you back because there's so much information on solids, so let's jump right back into it today. What are some foods that parents should avoid in that first year?
There are just a couple foods that we really need to avoid in the first year. So honey is one of them,
right?
Because there's a risk of botulism. So we want to avoid that for the first year. After a year, we're pretty much safe to give that. Cow's milk, so fluid cow's milk. We don't want that to replace breast milk or formula.
So no drinking of the cow's milk?
No drinking of the cow's milk, because we just don't want it to replace the nutrients that are in breast milk or formula.
Got it.
But other than that, right now all the research is showing that once you start introducing solids at around like 5 or 6 months when they're developmentally ready, anything can go.
Which is such a huge change.
It's a major change. The one recommendation that is being given is that if there's a strong family history of allergic disease, so we're talking the baby's shown any signs of eczema, or the parents have food allergies, or the parents have asthma, or another sibling has any of these things, that they really should consult with their doctor or an allergist about a specific plan for that child. But if there's none of that, we're really saying anything goes at this point.
Right, and speaking of allergies, I know like your older son, has struggled with some food allergies. Can you help our parents kind of know what should they look for? What does an allergic reaction look like?
So an allergic reaction can present in many different ways. So in little babies, oftentimes they have eczema, or even sometimes they have blood in their stool. So this, we're talking about little babies. They can have severe constipation or diarrhea. Severe allergies are hives all over the body, difficulty breathing. And then a very, very severe allergic reaction is called anaphylaxis, and this is where they actually have difficulty breathing. This is a very severe allergic reaction. Typically anaphylaxis occurs with shellfish and peanuts and tree nuts, but there actually can be anaphylaxis with other foods as well.
My daughter Haley had a more mild reaction when we gave her strawberries. She had that prickly rash kind of around her mouth. What can you suggest for parents if they are having a mild response? What do they do with that food?
So typically if it's a more mild reaction in little ones, it can sometimes be just like a contact rash. So oftentimes with some of the fruits or peaches or sweet potatoes or whatever, some of these foods, they just get a little prickly rash like what you're describing with your daughter. And oftentimes if you take it out and then reintroduce it another time, if they get it again, then we know that that's the offending food. If you just pull it out right away and never reintroduce it, then we won't know what's what. It could have been a virus, it could have been a heat rash, it could have been anything. So for the mild kind of contact rashes that we see that could just be caused by the food being around the mouth, we use that approach. Anything more severe, hives all over the body, severe diarrhea, things like that, any difficulty breathing, do not reintroduce that food. Call the doctor immediately.
When is the best time to start introducing water?
I recommend introducing water around the 6-month mark when we're introducing solids. So you give them their solids, you give them a little water. I recommend doing it in a little open cup, so it helps with movement of new muscles in the mouth. And in this little cup, with my daughter, I used a shot glass. So it might sound funny, but it's the perfect size for their little mouth. It's very messy, but
the solid's already messy.
Exactly.
So Nicole, when is the best time to start moving on with textures like finger foods?
So I like to think of the texture progression like a dance. So we don't really know exactly when babies are going to be ready to move from one texture to the next, and we kind of just have to challenge them and see when they're ready. So you move from the mushy gushy to the little pieces. If they're ready, they'll let you know. So if they're pushing it out, they're not ready, you move on, and they're not ready, you pull back. And you move again, so that's the dance that I'm talking about. And eventually, they're going to progress with their textures. There's not one specific age that you say, at 10 months, they're ready for this texture. You just have to kind of go and see when they're ready. And that's the best way to do it.
And we're big on following babies' cues and leads, and one of the things that comes up often is like this big myth that you have to have a lot of teeth in a baby's mouth in order to have finger foods.
It's true.
Can you kind of tell us a little more about that?
It's totally a myth because the gums are so strong, and I've seen babies eat a piece of pizza with gums. Actually, my daughter, before she had a lot of teeth, she loved pizza, and she used to eat it just with her gums, and not very many teeth, no molars, nothing. And I've seen babies eat steak and very, very tough foods with no teeth. So it's totally a myth, and you don't need teeth to move on to table foods.
That's pretty amazing, isn't it? You've shared some great information with us last time as well as today, and we would love to have you back another time. Will you join us again?
I'd love to.
Great. I'm so glad we were able to tackle some of the solids last time and this time. Please join us again. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.